Hey guys, it's Matt. I was on email this morning, and Chris, who lives out in Los Angeles, had snapped me some pictures along the Sunset Strip in LA. I guess he took them right from his car. And the theme of his email, and I have watched the trailers of these movies since, there seems to be this weird theme that ties through several of the movies coming out right around Thanksgiving. And I want to talk about that a little bit. But just a personal note from some of these pictures, it doesn't seem like the Sunset Strip has changed much. I'll show you some more pictures and images coming up. If you can't see them, you can't see them. It's not a real big deal if you can't. But, I was out there in 96. The job transferred me out. And after about 2 or 3 months, I was kind of like, get me out of here. Get me. The Southland, Los Angeles, was not for me. It is like the home, this Sunset Strip is like the home of billboards. And it still seems to be the same way. People come from all over the world and they get there, and it's like that, what was it, the Cranberries song, "This is not Hollywood like I understood." They're like, this is it? Like, it's seedy, it's not that nice. It really isn't. And you're like, this, and even in Hollywood, where a man's Chinese theater is, you're like, this is it? It is a letdown for, I know there's not much in this image. Chris snapped this picture because of Disney's movie coming out also in November called Strange World that I've also seen the trailer for. I'll list the trailers in the description, guys, if anybody needs to see the trailers before continuing with this video. You really don't, but some people will want to get an idea of what these movies are all about. And there's not much in this image, but it just gives me the feel of the Sunset Strip. And if this image is what Chris took a few days ago or yesterday, it hasn't changed at all since I was out there in 96, 97. I guess it was the early part of 99. They transferred me up to San Francisco because I was like, get me out of here. Is there a job opening in like Vladivostok? I would have taken the Vladivostok opening. LA was not for me. It's you do the touristy thing for a few months, and then you're like, wait a second, I got to live here. What seems to have motivated Chris in the first place to start taking these images along the Sunset Strip was the Creeps presentation of this upcoming Jason Momoa movie on Netflix in November called Slumberland. And he's like, you need 3 gigantic billboards back to back to back to remind people that Slumberland is coming. Or is there a message here? In other words, that's usually the way we see it. And when we get these intuitions about what the Creeps are doing, I don't think we're wrong too often anymore. These billboards along the Sunset Strip, guys, are gigantic. You can't miss them. At night, they're all lit up, 3 back to back to back. Well, Matt, don't you understand? People are texting and they're usually looking down nowadays. Oh, yeah, there's a business reason for this. I forgot. You don't even need one billboard. Like Netflix is not going to, and when you put on your Netflix, it's not going to say Slumberland, #1 in the United States today. Everybody gets all excited. Netflix just picks what's #1 and #2. They put the labels on #1 in the U.S. today, or this is #3 in the United States. People get all excited. Oh, this is #2 in the United States. We should watch it. I mean, give me a break. They don't even need one billboard. I don't understand their creepy ways. It's part of the spell. Has to deliver everything in threes. And this Slumberland, again, goes along with the theme of these other strange movies coming out November 10th through the end of November, right around Thanksgiving. I'll talk about the movies in a little bit more detail and potentially the themes in a moment. But it's funny how we see things versus, again, the rest of the world. I always love to go back and ponder this. It's just for fun, where I'm going back and forth, just, with Chris very, very briefly. He's basically saying, why do you think they're presenting it like this? And I go back to him and say something like, well, this message, this weird message that flows out of several of these movies or presentations that are coming in November, they all carry the same theme. And why do you think the Creeps have to be making this presentation at this particular time under their astrological sky? And again, the regular person would think we're absolutely out of our minds. It's just so funny to talk about. I know I talk about this a lot, but the regular person would be like, what are these people talking about, honey? Obviously, they're just like anybody else in Hollywood. They're just trying to make money, and they had a good idea to make money with this weird-ass presentation. It's almost like as weird, it seems to be as strange, no, I was going to say as Southland Tales with The Rock from 10 years ago, but nothing is as strange as Southland towels. They're just trying to make money. That's all it's about. Why do these conspiracy channels always be looking for things that aren't there? It's like alpophilia. And I kind of dove into the weeds into too much detail. I think originally Chris's message was very broad. It was like 3 gigantic billboards placed along the Sunset Strip, all calling all the zombified individuals driving underneath slumber land, or putting the masses further and further into the delusion or the illusion and the dream. And Disney's A Strange World, I watched the trailer for that. It's just all about the emerald green and all about the magenta. More emerald green, more magenta. Just simply could be at the first level. It's just a message. Slumberland, Slumberland, Slumberland. It's kind of like Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. They had to present that in 3s. And then the first grade truther will come forth. Be like, Matt, don't dive into the weeds so much. It's just mockery. That's all it is. I agree with you, first grade truther, to a degree. It is mockery, but they don't do things just to mock. There's usually a second layer or a third layer of what they're doing or what they're presenting. The mockery may be in there, but I don't think they go out of their way very often just to mock. Like they're getting off on the same jokes in the same way they make fun of the proletariat and the plebe and the great unwashed. Sure, it's probably mockery, but there's other things going on here as well, whether we can identify them or not. He got this image of a billboard, a movie coming out, I think also Netflix, Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths, coming out in November. I will say this for the Sunset Strip. It does seem to be the launching ground, at least from a billboard perspective, of movies that are coming out. It would seem like the first billboards they put up, of course, I know it's their backyard and everything, but there may be more to it. The first time they even advertise a movie would be on like a Sunset Strip billboard, where I never even heard of any of these movies that Chris took a picture of. But who knows the creepy ways that they work. We're not going to get to the bottom of it, but at least we in this group are open to other ideas and generally can see what's going on. The Sunset Strip. Who knows? I'm not an expert like a Bill Cooper, broke down how their mystery schools come out of ancient Egypt and Memphis and all. I don't know what all the creepy things they're up to. But is it completely illogical for us to say that it's not a coincidence that all this stuff is being launched? Their magic, Disney magic and Hollywood magic, launched from the Sunset Strip? No, but it's just I'm not gonna pursue it any further. It's just we just notice these sorts of things that there are people around us, like our cousins, find completely insane. But a New York Times review, Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths. It's a stressful afterlife. Chris sensed it, or he wouldn't have sent me the images. I sense it. For some reason, they need to be making this sort of a presentation on multiple fronts in November. Well, Matt, probably because their astrological stars are aligned in a certain way. Or I don't understand that horse shit, but that's how they generally do business. But it's so funny, again, to go back to your cousin, to the guy down the cul-de-sac. Like, you think that some weird cabal type secret groups are using movies to have to make a presentation at a certain time because some star just entered Virgo? Or so you guys are out to lunch. Be like that guy, my favorite scene of all time, from Lethal Weapon 1 and Mr. Joshua. Like, you guys are out there, man. You guys are gone like Pluto. Joshua, yeah, call Joshua, Mr. Joshua. You guys are out there, man. Like, that's what they would think of us. But at this point, do we know exactly what the creeps are up to? No, but when we see it and talk about it, we're much closer to the truth than the average guy down the cul-de-sac that would listen to the words coming out of my mouth and to be like, these people think there's some agenda or something. Of course, any movie studio makes a movie for just one reason, just to make money. I mean, what do you guys think? You guys should join up with that guy that said Joshua. Joshua, yeah, I'll call him Mr. Joshua. In 45 seconds or less, if anybody's new, the Bardos is, per the Tibetan Book of the Dead and Buddhism, that this 40, is it 42 or 44 day or 46 day period between one life and what they predict will be your next life, where the spirit has a chance to escape, but 99 point whatever percent, according to what they believe, will come back into a body, recycled back for another incarnation. The Bardos, this period where you face your own demons, and the Tibetan Book of the Dead says all these different things you have to face. I think it's a bunch of horse shit, if you ask me. I mean, I much more believe you will, if you study Buddhism your entire life and you expect, or maybe this is just a Tibetan spin, I have no idea. I don't read much about this stuff. If you believe all these demons are coming in this Bardo period and it's so hard, you got to go into the blue light, then you turn left at the yellow light, and you do this at this light. If you believe it's so complicated and all that shit's going to come for you, you probably just manifest it on yourself. Guys, as I was doing that segment, I was looking in the rearview mirror. I was distracted by what's in the rearview mirror there, bottom right. It's an image of a billboard facing the other direction of, I guess it's for the Lakers and the Clippers, both the LA teams, but it's definitely LeBron James, right? But it's in the rearview mirror, a billboard that would be facing the other direction. And I started thinking about LeBron James. Does anybody think that's been doing this, like the first few rows of the Hamish classroom, that it's a coincidence that LeBron James just found his way out to play for the Los Angeles Lakers? I mean, you're just going to leave him in Cleveland or Miami. It was like inevitable. He had to make it out into the LA land. I mean, this is a guy that literally performs some sort of magical, weird-ass ritual before games. I assume he still does it. He did it for year after year. He gets all the talcum powder, and he smacks his hands together, and he throws the powder up. I mean, it's some sort of, I'm no expert in this. I can't tell the difference between what LeBron James does before Game 7 and a freaking Grimoire. But it's something. It's not what the people, what are the people, he's just doing it for fun. Oh, sure. There's something really creepy about it. And I'm even more creeped out by these AT&T commercials now. I have to look away. I went and got the image. Here's the commercial. You've probably all seen it. I can't look at the commercial directly. I don't know why it bothers me. It's literally like there's a demon there negotiating a cell phone contract or something. On the lighter side, forget that for now. On the lighter side, what really does bother me is the mockery of this commercial. And what's the Mahomes commercial for State Farm, Jake from State Farm, where they have literally like the richest athletes of all time. They say LeBron James will be the first true billionaire sports athlete. I think that's what they're saying. I don't pay much attention to it. Either way, he's probably not, searching his couch cushions to drum up money for, Arby, we have the meats. I mean, he's, okay, it's beyond any amount of money we can possibly fathom. But the big theme in this commercial is I need a deal. I need to get the deal. I need to save my 10 cents every 6 months. And then if I get the deal, I want to make sure everybody else can get the deal. The fact that he's leading the charge to get the deal and he would give a shit. This is mockery. I take back what I said, first grade truthers. This is just pure mockery where he's worried about a deal. And Mahomes has the $500 million contract, I think, not including. He'll soon be a billionaire right behind LeBron if he stays healthy. He's working at a sneaker place. Jake from State Farm, you've seen it, comes in. He's like, what you working here for, Mahomes? Oh, I can get a deal on the. See, if I work at the sneaker place, I can get like $2 off a sneaker. But I make $700 million over 12 years. That is mockery. Of course, she has like the magenta right behind her. Anyway, sorry. Okay, also from Chris, this Steven Spielberg movie is also coming out between Thanksgiving and Christmas, or right around Thanksgiving. Similar theme, The Fabelmans. Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans. It's definitely the most normal of the movies coming out about this time. The other ones are just complete LSD trips, scene by scene. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe I'll show you some screenshots of that. It looks cringeworthy, the Jason Momoa movie. But this Fabelmans, okay, looks like more like a normal movie, but it's about a kid that wants to create Hollywood magic and make movies. And of course, because it's not a complete dream sequence, it's more about a struggling young kid who wants to get into the business. Oh, they're going to use it to introduce discrimination themes. It's not what you would think, but it's the certain group that is associated with, you would just say, the country of Israel. The whole big, they got to drum everything up as many times as possible. The discrimination themes come over and over. They can never, ever let anything go. This is just part of what they do. I can't talk about it any more than that. But even though this movie looks like normal compared to the other ones, I still see, and Chris would probably agree with me, it still seems to fit this theme, this weird-ass theme of why they have to make this presentation right around Thanksgiving this year. The theme continued when I pulled this email up this morning from HBO. The theme of the email, strange fantasies, big magic, and dark secrets abound this week. And this is upcoming on HBO, Don't Worry, Darling. But when you get these emails from HBO, like a different movie will flash every second, like Harry Potter. They have all 8 films and then something else and something else. And I captured, when this one came back, Don't Worry, Darling. And this is one where a few people that really have some keen insight as to how the reality works are like, Matt, when this is available, check out this weird-ass Don't Worry, Darling. These people live in some illusion, under some dome or something. I have no idea what it's about or what it's going to be about. But this one, you get a sense like, even if I didn't want to see it, I'd have to see it based on, what I do here with this channel. So as soon as I see it, I will report back to you. But this one just carries a unique, creepy feel. But it's like, okay, it was already out, but then, I don't know, HBO seems to be saying the same sort of thing at about the same time as to what's being put out in November. So let's take a closer look at some of these weird movies. Coming to theaters November 23rd, Disney's Strange World. I don't think it's going to Disney Plus. Gigantic magenta presentation, gigantic emerald green presentation all over the trailer and most likely all over the entire movie. It comes on, it says, what adventures await, or what adventures lie outside of our world or outside of our reality. I forget exactly how it's said. And then they come and find this guy whose father was a famous explorer, and she says, the first line in the trailer, our world is in grave danger. I'll leave the links to the trailers below in the description. Does this look good to me in any way? No, it looks like another terrible movie. Now, Slumberland, remember the triple billboard? Slumberland looks like a Jason Momoa cringe fest. Is this his humiliation ritual or time to be humiliated? It really looks like it. I mean, is it as bad as The Rock as Tinkerbell, or what was he, the Tooth Fairy? Probably not. I didn't see that either, but this is like cringeworthy. But maybe he never had to appear in a dress. So maybe this is the penance. I don't know. But what does Jason Momoa say to the little girl? Of course, she at some point she's in she's in the real world. She's in this school, and she then enters this dream world. And Jason Momoa is her guide, and every scene is like a different. It's a gigantic LSD experience. I mean, or I've never been on it myself, but I'm just, you know what I mean in describing it that way. Scene to scene, and Hollywood has a lot of these types of movies. And he says, the world, to a little girl, the world is a lot bigger than you think. And it's a gigantic truth drop movie, probably. Okay, I don't know exactly what's coming here, but I'll be sure to see it as soon as I can. And it still will be 90% or 98% deception. But, why are we so interested, or why am I and many of us are so interested in these movies? There is a creepy level here that knows something. Okay, we're pretty convinced of this. Think of the buttons and levers they pulled over the last 2 years, putting the world into a certain place. It's unimaginable what they've been able to pull off. And for some reason, if you're new here, I don't know, contractually, the truth of this world has to leak out in movies. And of course, it's going to be mostly deception. But the idea is, or one of the reasons I'm so interested in it, if you could pull one little bit of truth out of this movie and then combine that with whatever you could pull out of Everything Everywhere All at Once, where she was experiencing multiple realities, I think that's 98% BS and deception. But if you could just take the one nugget from here and one nugget from there and put it all together, all of the truth nuggets that have been in hundreds and hundreds of movies, and you knew which ones to pull out and which ones to leave behind, I think we could get extremely close. I think we're in the ballpark now, and if anybody's screaming or throwing rubber duckies, I hear you. Does that really do anything for what you're here to do for yourself? No, not really. It can help a bit in a way, but for the most part, no. Once you have a clear path of what you're here in this world and life to do for yourself, but it still is fascinating. I still can say the reality is a half page. I still might know what I need to do for myself in the time left on this place called Earth, but I'm never going to stop trying to figure this out. I mean, why stop? It's fascinating. And as long as we have a clear intention for ourselves and what we're here to do, I don't think it's harmful. When you go on the wrong path and take its bread in circuses, it's harmful. But I don't think we fall for the distraction like we used to. Of the images of the movie posters that Chris took around the Sunset or on the Sunset Strip, was it Sunset Boulevard, which is, I guess, parallels Hollywood Boulevard? Yeah, I believe. That ain't no better. Trust me, going up there, that's even seedier, I think, if I remember correctly. Sorry, Beverly, and it runs through Beverly Hills eventually, too. I think that's a key dividing line as to how rich you really are. Oh, you're Beverly Hills, but oh, you're on that side of Sunset. It's like the hood. If you're on, it's still pretty damn nice homes, but they're all kind of pushed together. I mean, they're all, $1.5 million homes, but they're all on, half an acre or 3/4 of an acre, where if you're on the other side of Sunset Boulevard, oh, that's the real Beverly Hills. Well, how do you know, Matt? Because in 1996, when they transferred me out there, I drove around the neighborhoods coveting the lifestyles. Of course, I coveted the OJ lifestyles. Of course I did. I was a child of the Matrix. People think I was born out of the womb with full knowledge of truth that rose up into the air like a golden ball or something. No, I went through all the shit everybody else does. Luckily, I'm still coming out of it. But yeah, I drove around those neighborhoods coveting the lifestyles, wishing I could be living in those homes. How sick is that? How sick was that? Matt, thank God you escaped. Yeah, I did. Okay, back to the movie. Bardo. False chronicle of a handful of truths, like Lemony Snicket, so they have to put a damn paragraph as the movie title. A series of unfortunate bad movies and events. Bardo, it's a literal LSD trip. This is the weirdest of all these movies. In this scene, in the trailer, they show 4 or 5 seconds of each scene. Just one scene has nothing to do with the other. Complete bizarro show. A DMT, LSD trip. This guy's waiting in line in like an airport or something, and this I don't know, it looks like the Prussian army from the 1700s comes and hauls him off. It doesn't make any sense. Complete nonsense. And that is what the Tibetan Book of the Debt. That's what we have in the United States. Everybody getting these giant car loans. The Tibetan Book of the Debt of the Dead describes all this crazy ass shit. Horse shit that comes for you in these things called the bardos. And if you can't overcome it, you're recycled back. Don't pass go. Don't collect your 200 soul tokens. You go back into a body for the 10,000th time in Buddhism. So what is the point of... I expect these movies are all going to be horrible. I bet Chris would agree with me. They're put out for some reason because they have to be put out. I think they're going to be nonsense. I don't think, the reviewers will see how creatively, artistically ingenious they are, and people would be like, this is just crap, man. Sucks rocks, people. So that was new. That's normal around Philly. But some of those new, I said that in a video ago or two, and somebody from the EU had never heard that. But what is that? I like that. Sucks rocks. These movies suck rocks. You can tell they're going to stink. But I think Chris would agree. They're all coming out, similar themes at about the same time. I don't know how to put it, because they have to. And that's the weirdest thing of all time to anybody that doesn't run in our circles. with everything that's happened in this life, in this reality, I made a video probably just under a year ago that this could be the Bardos. Our life now, this could be the Bardos. Well, Matt, that implies we're like dead and this is some strange period between lives or between life and death, or this, I mean, that's assuming you interpret the Bardos exactly as the Tibetan Buddhists do, but this is some netherworld, or we had died. Yes, of course I'm keeping that on the table. I don't know how new everybody here is listening to this, but I've said, I don't know, I've told the story probably 3 or 4 times over the past 5 years that, yeah, I potentially was killed. Oh, Matt, don't say that. I've been with this channel now 6 months. You seem normal. You seemed sane. Well, just give me a moment. I haven't lost it just yet. It's okay. I'm a big thinker. I keep all this weird shit on the table. 1 minute or less if you've heard the story. I'm chainsawing a tree. You know, it seems like a small tree, but a 30-foot oak that has been dead a long time. All its limbs had dropped off, a slender pole, like a telephone pole. But you don't realize the thing's still 10,000 pounds. I drop it. Well, I drop it. You ever see a tree? Obviously, you've seen a tree split up. It's one tree, but it makes a V. It goes up into 2. Became a teeter-totter. Went through one end, they flipped up, coming right for my head. Completely unanticipated, and was very reckless of me. I hit the dirt, covered my head. Now, this wouldn't have crushed me like being stepped on by Optimus Prime or something, but it could have broke. It was very cold outside. It could have broken, 20 bones in my body. I could have just laid out there and died. And Matt, maybe you did. Yes, that's why I'm telling the story. What? Why didn't it hit me or get awfully close or land right next to me? I looked up, and it had somehow got hung up on a limb. But it was like, well, that limb shouldn't be able to support that weight. It was the weirdest thing. And I've talked about people since, and they've come forth and they said, you probably died. You dumb son of a bitch. You died out there. Didn't everything start to get strange in the world after that? Like, Yeah, didn't reality start to break down and nobody can see all this stuff that you can see, and it's so obvious and defies common sense and logic, but then your best friend can't see it and your cousins can't? That's when all this weird shit started to happen. Guys, I don't know exactly where I'd put my chips if this was a roulette wheel, and I don't think I'd slide my entire stack onto the number that says I'm confident that I died, but that is absolutely on the table that this is some sort of Bardos, and it doesn't mean it's 45 days or whatever. It's just some sort of, in a way, it's good news because it's then it would be complete proof we believe we're immortal beings. Now we can feel that in every cell in our body, but we won't truly know until we die. If this is the Bardos, then it's just some sort of weird parallel reality that popped up. It's like one layer lower, so everything's all effed up here, and we then have to, it's still kind of the same goal, to see through it, and which is what we're doing now, because this reality, unlike the old reality, if I did die in this tree accident, the old reality didn't give itself away like this one does. The old reality it had a semblance of professionalism in its presentation. It had a semblance of at least adhering to common sense, as did the people around us. This one is a complete clown show, shit show. It's almost like if that thing, let's just keep going with this, if that thing did kill me, it's almost like, well, he gets moved into like into the room. And then in this reality, which is like a mimic of the other one, but everything's completely broken down. It's like a last chance or something. It's like if these dumb sons of bitches don't see through this clown show and they keep making excuses for it or think it's normal, then that's it. There ain't no second chance. Where, it is so ridiculous what's happening here and over the top that, we keep a lot of things on the table as to what might be going on, but none of our explanations as to what is going on are normal. They're all outside the box or outside the bookends. And again, one of my possibilities is that damn tree killed me. And well, Matt, then what would be the purpose of putting your spiritual self into a parallel reality that's like the same but a complete clown show breakdown to facilitate wake up in some way, to facilitate wake up, hopefully not a last chance. It's actually good news and bad news. The reality, we've been talking recently about the reality breaking down as great news, because as we separate, it becomes more and more foreign to us, more strange to us as we walk away and look back, as the ship sails down the river and walk back. That's certainly a possibility. That is wonderful news. The other side is, though, that, if this reality is like the Bardos, and that damn tree did conk me on the head, then it could be the other end of the spectrum. It's like the reality is trying to wake us up, but it might be like a last chance wake up. It's like even your own higher self or whatever your religious inclination is, it's like, oh shit, this asshole just conked himself on the head trying to cut a tree down. He goes in that shit show, bozo show parallel reality. Oh, that one, it's real fucked up in that place. If they don't see through the clown show in that reality, then they go into the Pope's abyss, man. There ain't no hope for them. It's so absurd that, if you can't see through this, and the person that you call your cousin, the doppelganger you call your cousin, he got conked on the head too, and he's in this bardo with you, and he's thinking everything's real, and he's bowing down to Elon Musk. Is like, he might be in trouble. At least we're seeing through it. Either way, it's good news for us the way I see it. One last time, let me clarify. Someone's like, I've been here 6 months. I've wasted all this time listening to this guy, Quantum of Conscience. That dumb son of a bitch thinks he's dead. He's out there like Pluto, man. He thinks he died. Let me clarify. Relax, okay? I haven't lost it. You'll know when I lose it. We're big thinkers here. That is a possibility. That everything here is reverse. This is life. No, this is likely some sort of death. Everything here is inverted, perverted, and reversed. I'm keeping weird big things on the table. Do I believe with every chip I could slide on a roulette number and double down on my bet that I died and I'm dead and I'm in some sort of bardo? No. But I absolutely will keep that on the table. I'll tell you one thing. The weirder your explanation is, no matter how weird it beats what your best friend says or your cousin, that everything here is normal and as it should be, you could have the weirdest explanation on 10 times as weird as what I just said. I could be dead, that we live in a dinosaur egg. Any explanation is more normal, more grounded, closer to sanity than the people around us that make excuses for this shit show. That's the height of insanity, not any weird explanation we can come up with in this community. Thanks for listening.